And the Europe-India undersea cable that's been making headlines in the last 2 or 3 days is going to cross 13 countries. It's going to stretch for 15,000 kilometres, and it's going to cost $700 million. And one of the companies that's going to be helping out with that in terms of expertise and money is Do, a telecom communication company here in the UAE. On the line to explain to us just how this is going to work is Osman Sultan, the CEO of Do. Osman, good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning, Brandy. My pleasure. Thank you for inviting me.
Explain to us, first of all, what will this new cable and Do being part of the consortium putting this cable together mean for your clients here in the UAE?
Well, it very simply means more capacity. I mean, I think that the idea of this cable is very simple. Today, more and more traffic is going through telecommunication infrastructure, specifically internationally, be it voice, be it data, the access to the internet, video, etc. And this is really increasing exponentially, and with the UAE becoming more and more a hub for businesses, for people, international capacity is something we need. It's something we need to increase, and obviously this is a long term. I mean, as we indicated, this cable will be put in service in the second quarter of 2010. So we're not doing this because there is any lack of capacity today, but we need to consider the planning for our capacity. What it will mean for our customers, it will, I mean, nothing different. They will be still doing the applications that they will be doing. This is just for Do to say we are getting prepared to handle more and more capacity, to offer you more and more sophisticated applications in the future.
Now, obviously, good morning, Osman. Malcolm here.
Good morning, Malcolm.
Maurice Ananian, who's a telco analyst at EFG Hermes, says that companies can generate another steady stream of profits by leasing out or selling their capacity on this line to other operators and improve their quality of data transmission by increasing their capacity. So is that Du's intention, either to make money by leasing out the surplus bandwidth, or do you think you're going to take that up with Du mobile and fixed line subscribers?
Yeah, well, obviously we will be using this cable first for our own needs, but being a founder member of this consortium gives us access to capacity in a discounted manner, because the idea of being a member of this consortium is you can benefit from good rates for buying the capacity you need. And yes, if other operators would need to lease this cable, we do not exclude, definitely, we do not exclude leasing capacity to these operators. And for us, this becoming as well one way of increasing the return on this investment we are doing. Yes, you're absolutely right.
Now, the project is going to cost $700 million US. Omantel is investing $40 million. Telecom Egypt, $50 million. How much is Du contributing?
Our total investment is in excess of $50 million US. But that includes as well the construction of a new landing station in Fujairah, in the area of Fujairah.
So how much? Obviously, the Omantel and Telecom Egypt have been fairly open
about
how much.
We have actually we have a range from our board for this total investment, because when we presented this, there is a board. The total investment could go up to 65 million if needed.
Explain to us what you mean by a landing station, Osman. I've got visions of cables sort of rising up from the sea.
You're not so far from the reality, Brandy. Actually, it's just cables should connect to the infrastructure, the land infrastructure that operators have in countries. So this cable will be going, I mean, I wish I could have a map. It's difficult on the radio. This cable will be just, going across the Mediterranean, then crossing the canal, and then going into and then you will have parts where this cable will link to land to each of the different countries. Actually, 13 of these countries will have a landing station, and the cable coming directly to the country and linking to the existing terrestrial infrastructure that the operators will have. Our own fiber that we will have in the UAE, and that will make, different links to the countries. And as I said, there are 13 of these landing stations for the totality of the cable.
Now, Osman, you've allocated up to $65 million on this project, a project which won't show any real benefits to do, and as you said, until 2010 at the earliest. Why would you enter this market when you're not yet making a profit in your core business, mobile and fixed subscribers in the UAE? Surely this is going to delay your you reaching profitability.
No, I don't think so. Without going into complicated accounting treatment, when you go in investments, obviously you don't account for these investments. There is something that is, you depreciate your investments according to a certain lifetime of the project. So that will mean, yes, that will mean an impact, but it doesn't mean that we are going to book just immediately for this year or next year $65 million, or expense that. So this is not really going to delay the profit making. And on that point, we indicated clearly that we anticipate reaching our first quarter profit before the end of 2009 in light of the results that we have released for the first quarter. I repeat that we are ahead of schedule on that front. So I don't have, a big concern related to this. But this is fundamental for us in our long-term planning to be able to have access to this capacity with good commercial terms. I mean, we could access this. We could have access to this capacity without being a founder member. First of all, we do not have priority for this. Second of all, obviously the commercial terms, when you're not a founding member, are not as good. And as I said, it depends as well with the amount of investment. You get better commercial terms the more you invest in the beginning as a founder member.
Is the extra bandwidth that this cable will bring enough to prevent the kind of problems that we saw earlier this year when we lost cables off the coast of both Egypt and the UAE?
That's absolutely right. The answer is yes. One of the main reasons as well to get into the consortium and be a founder member is that we need to build the resilience. We need to have what is indicated as disaster recovery capability. Our dependence on just maybe one consortium, because we are today member of the FLAC consortium of the Falcon cable, and that is not enough. It makes us more fragile in case you have cuts like what happened earlier this year, as you were pointing out, Brandy. So from a disaster, first of all, from getting access to capacity that is needed to our business, two, a resilience capability, and three, commercial needs. This is the rationale behind our participation. As far as the capacity is concerned, this cable is fiber optics of the latest technology, which means that it could really carry a lot of capacity. We indicated that the capacity of this cable would be a 3.8 terabytes. I know that this is difficult to when it comes to giga, tera, etc. But we tried to find a metaphor to illustrate this. This cable in itself would be enough to carry the voice traffic, supposedly, and this is not going to happen, of all the population of the UAE making at the same moment international calls. We estimated that at the end of the spectrum it could carry a little bit more than 4.5 million simultaneous calls on this cable. So this illustrates the type of capacity that this cable will carry.
How are you going to safeguard this cable? I mean, I think one thing that the problems at the beginning of the year showed people was how vulnerable these cables are to being snagged by anchors and other problems.
Yes. Well, that's a real issue, and obviously consortium operating cables have looked more carefully after the incidents. I mean, these cables are armored, and the way they are protected is thicker in the area that is closer to shore. And if you go in the deep ocean, and our press conference 2 days ago, actually we showed some of these cables and how they are, and how thick they are. In the deep ocean, they will be obviously thinner. This will be like a thick pen, a thick pencil. Imagine that would be the entire cable. Of course, when you come close to shore, they have several layers of armor. We will not operate this cable as do. We are part of a consortium. We participate in the governance body of this consortium, the board or something like that. But this cable will be operated by companies that are specialized, and there are ships that maintain, I'm sorry, and potentially repair any damage that happens to these cables. So these are standard techniques that are used every day.
Are fiber optic cables naturally more resilient than the old wire cables, Osman?
I guess so. I'm not an expert of this domain, but I think that because they have been laid on the, in the oceans later, I think that the technology used, I mean, not only obviously the telecom technology in this is much more sophisticated, but the technology used to armor these and to protect these is as well much more sophisticated, which makes me think that they are a little bit more, resistant to damage than the old cables. This is the normal progress of technology in all aspects.
Right, 20 seconds before we have to go, Osman. What effect will this extra bandwidth have on price? Will it bring prices down for your customers?
The answer is yes. Actually, that's a standard equation. The more you have volume used, you will see prices going down. The more capacity will become available, prices, which means that this is not anymore a scarce resource, prices will go down. But Brandy, I just want to point out that actually since competition started in the UAE, people have seen some movement on the front of pricing, and it is our clear intention to continue on that front. I think that the first thing that is interesting for consumers when it comes to competition is seeing that this has an impact on their wallet and on their pocket and the value they get for their money.
Osman Sultan, the CEO of Do, thank you very much for your time this morning.
Thank you.
And that's it for another morning on the Business Breakfast.
Just before we go, heartfelt and sincere apologies again to those people texting in saying that our signal is still mixed and crackly. Bear with us, that will be solved in the near future.